What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called REvival Recolonization. This is a 4X game that's got itself fashioned after Civilization or something like Master of Magic. This is a post-apocalyptic game where I don't know exactly what the storyline is, but you seem to be some kind of time traveler that has gone to the future, or maybe the past, which is technically in our future relatively, in order to fix things after the planet's been destroyed and everybody is reduced back down into living in tribes and huddling around fires after an AI kills everybody. And you're supposed to guide a society back into dominance to defeat the AI overmind. And so that's what we're going to be doing here today. We're going to be playing the game and seeing if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list or pass on. The game is currently headed to early access on Steam, and so the game is not done. There's a lot of content missing here. But I do think that they actually have the basics in play to make the game fun, and I think they do have a couple of cool little twists that make the game interesting by comparison to everything else on the market as well, in exchange for not having a whole lot of variety as of right now in the current build. So let's dive on in. Let's play for about 35 minutes. This is probably going to be a pretty heavily edited episode, just due to the fact that this game is a bit of a slow burner. So this is a game that, like, things don't happen quickly. Like, they happen on the order of, like, 25, 35 turns. And so I'm going to be editing and skipping turns a lot of the time, but welcome to Recolonization. This is my town down here. Apparently, it's the town of Wasteland, which is like the sound you make when you try to suppress a sneeze in church. We've got our keeper over here, our emissary or whatever. This is basically our faction leader. He is, for all intents and purposes, a technomancer, kind of like a digitally powered wizard. You know the old saying that at a certain point, magic is just sci-fi that you can't explain. That's basically the way it works in this game. He can make it rain acid rain. He can conjure like radioactivity magic a la Shadowrun and become a crazy outlaw. And the goal of the game is to build up the society, go out, defeat the AI overmind, which is being tracked at the top of the screen, and then also subjugate or at least make friends with everybody else on the map so that you can make a unified push to kill off all of the Terminators. As of right now, I'm only about 15 turns into the game, but I did want to get it started just in the off chance that, like, I don't know, I feel like the first 20 turns in this game are kind of like pointless to show on video. They're not very fun, there's nothing really going on. The game starts to pick up once you've actually got like an army and you start putting together like war elephants, because that's one of the things that's interesting about this game. But let me give you a brief tour, because 4X games are not typically something that I cover on the channel, so I'm going to kind of like double my bases for anybody that doesn't play games like this. But if you've ever played Civilization, it's exactly the same here. You've got resources up in the top left-hand corner, everything from money to reputation to influence. I'll talk about some of those systems a little bit later on in the game, because I do think the reputation system is kind of a cool way to avoid annoying cheesing that happens in other games with diplomacy. The reputation system is cool. We've also got our research down here that we can play around with, a bunch of different hotbars. But as it stands, this is our tree. We live inside of a cool climate. This tree spreads cool climate. Climate is one of the major things in this game that you're trying to spread. Every single faction and every single culture has a climate that they like to live inside of. And outside of small variances of that, they actually actively die and lose health being in other climates. And so your goal is to make your climate as extremely hospitable to your faction as possible, so that when other factions are in your territory, they basically get a damage over time effect and spontaneously die before they can get to your walls. And they're trying to do the same thing to you, and the whole thing turns into kind of like a Q*bert game of converting hexes on over to your type or over to their type, so on and so forth. And that's actually what I've got my keeper doing right now. I've got to send him and my army over this way because I'd like to convert all of our territory into the climate that we would prefer to be inside of, and he's got the power to do that. I also need to pick a research. This is the research tree as of right now, just for the first era. I don't know how many eras are actively in the game in this current build. I know that, like, era 2, you get to, like, so you do, like, 15 researches over here, and then you pick, like, a super technology, and then it takes you to the next era. And so this game is kind of angling in from the direction of something like Empire Earth, where you're starting out from, like, the beginning of time, and it's totally possible in this game to have, like, cavemen that are equipped with laser cannons, or, like, Hannibal-style war elephants that have, you know, artillery, like World War II artillery mounted on their back. You can end up with some really weird combinations, and in fact, we're going to angle for that right now by going and getting war elephants because they are fun to play around with and they make me dominant over the enemy. We also have to pick a new edict. An edict is basically just a magic spell. I'm going to get zombies so I can summon zombies in other people's territory and like mess with them and make their life harder. Right now inside my city, I forget what I'm producing, but the city is divided up into hex-shaped districts. I've got an industrial district right now, which increases my production, and then I built my city on top of a gravitational anomaly, which is generating like an utterly insane amount of research for this early in the game. So I feel like we're probably ahead of the research curve as of right now. It looks like I'm making soldiers actually right now, and one of them is done. So I need this soldier to come over here and meet up with my main vanguard. Yeah, go ahead and move them into a single army. And if you have any movement left, continue going in that direction. Your armies in this game. So what makes this game different from Civilization, or like different from Masters of Magic, or different from Endless Legend, or any of those other games? Well, the climate system is the first big one. A big task in this game is you converting your territory into a never-ending wall of frost, or forest, or desert, or whatever it is that makes you healthier and makes you regenerate and hurts your enemies. That's the first mechanic that the game is all about. The second mechanic is that in this game, all of your units are fully customizable, a la something like Galciv, I guess, if you've ever played Galactic Civilization. This game is like that, except instead of spaceships, you have generic human beings and generic, like, elephants and, like, generic tanks, and you are responsible for putting, like, the plating on them that you want, and the weapons on them that you want, and the shields and the armor on them that you want. And what weapons and armor and shields you have available and things of that nature are all going to be dictated by the resources that you can acquire inside of your hegemony. So, like, this right here is a lead mine. I can make hammers out of lead that will considerably increase the attack power of my warriors. This guy has one right here, one of the lead hammers. But you can only do that if you have lead in your territory. Another thing that you could do is, like, these guys up here, they have quartz or like stone, so they could make stone shields and stone armor and stuff like that that they can wear going into combat. And as you get further into the technology tree, the things you have in your territory are going to dictate, you know, what kind of, like, energy shields and what kind of, like, are you going to shoot arc cannons? Are you going to shoot plasma cannons? That kind of stuff. Like, what is your faction good at? For right now, I need to move over to here. And I need to put a capsule right here to cool this area down. There we go. And we're going to cool this down to try to bring it more in line with our territory. But it's going to cost us a lot of energy to do this. Yeah, let's do it. There we go. And so this is going to slowly, at the end of the turn, start converting things over to our climate. Another thing we need to be aware of. Oh, this is a hot desert climate. Gotcha. That explains why I've got the little busted shield up above my head. So as you can see, we have lowered the temperature of this area, and it should stay that way. It looks like it's lowered it mostly down to a climate that we like. I need my other warrior to come up here and meet with me because I'm going to show you some combat when we get done here. But I also need to pick my production. I'll probably... Oh, I haven't really researched anything, have I? Okay. Well, that's going to affect my overhead a little bit. Now, your cities in this game grow just like in Civ. If you have excess food, it goes into this little meter. It gives you a new citizen. Each citizen can be assigned to generating currency or, you know, production or more food or more energy. Whatever it is you want them to be dedicated to doing, that's totally and completely your own call. The game also has workers that allows you to build roads that you can move around faster, like smelters on resources or labs or things like that. All of the options that you expect from a title like this are in this game, so don't worry about it too much. The game does have a UI that I think is a little bit minimalist for me. That's a little bit flat, I guess, for my liking. I don't have anything else to build here, so we're just going to have to skip it. Unfortunately, a turn without production is kind of, like, embarrassing. So we'll get this thing going. I think we should be done, though. Yeah, I've invented the ability to trade, so we can start on that now. And we could put in a trade district, although we don't really have a good spot. Well, we do, actually. We have a 2 gold bonus right there from terrain. So we'll build a trade district right there, and then taking a look at my research, we've got the administrative district coming up next. That's probably a good idea. And then from there, I need to get a lab, though, too. What allows me to build labs? Let me go for, yeah, let's queue those up so that we're going after philosophy and alchemy, because I do have lead available, which means I'd like a lab to exploit that. As our city grows, the borders of it are going to expand. Your city can get quite large by the end of the game as you get more districts and as you get more space to do the stuff you want to do. But for right now, we ride out to war to go kill some robots. Let's go fight these guys. So there's the fight right there. Anytime you fight inside your own territory, it's going to pull in reinforcements from the capital garrison. You can do a quick battle if you want. You can do a normal battle if you want. We'll do a normal battle this time, I think, just to show you what the combat looks like. Normally, I would auto-resolve this combat because I think the auto-resolve would actually come out with a better result than the actual fighting it. I don't know. The AI can be a little devious in this game. They can be a little bit sneaky, you know? I've got a couple of archers, and we are going to get reinforcements, and I'd really like to overrun the enemy if I can. Is that guy a shooter? What does he do? I think he's like a slasher, so we're just going to like have everybody hang tight, because they got to come to us anyways, and I'd like to get the opening attack on these dudes. My archers, they can fire at this guy should we desire to do so, and as you can see, we are dealing a little bit of damage. I'll probably have these guys move up and clunk that guy right there. And then I'll probably have these guys fire on these little dudes back here if I can make it happen. But I need it to happen. Oh no, I messed up. I thought it was this guy that I was controlling. It was not the proverbial this guy. Let's go ahead and fire right there. And then this guy can move on up. Our keeper right here, it doesn't actively cycle to him during turns, but he can cast spells and stuff if you want to. So, like, I could damage the armor of my enemies with some acid rain. I could irradiate some of my enemies. Radiation damages most enemies, but, like, some enemies, you know, like, they don't really take damage from it, but there you go. That's what radiation looks like. He's now been irradiated. Oh, no. I was going to say, the AI is pretty good in this game at always maximizing kills. So if you haven't played the game before, be aware that the AI is really aggressive about focus firing in this game. Like, they play just like a human would. Very aggressively, very focus fiery. There's not much you can do to get out of the way of it. It's just the way that it goes. We'll fire an arrow at that guy. I'll probably move up here to see if I can tank for a minute. This guy is just way in the rear with the gear, which is kind of a bummer. Yeah, they killed both of my archers. Auto-resolve would have lost no units right here because, for whatever reason, the AI does not kite when playing against itself. It only kind of, like, kites when it's up against a human player. And so, like, I've actually found that the auto-resolve in this game is fairly beneficial to the player, I say hesitantly, but I actually found it to be so fair to the player that I stopped fighting battles altogether. Because the AI just did a better job. Like, I could fight fights that I would save beforehand, and I would fight them like 4 times in a row by myself, and I would lose units every single time, just like this, and then I would auto-resolve it and lose no units. And so for the rest of this episode, we're probably going to auto-resolve everything, unless we have, like, a really cool, I suppose, unit or something that I want to show off. We did find a stash of quartz inside of this city right here. After you defeat robots, you can go back into the destroyed husk of old human settlements and get things. On top of that, we also got a bunch of free electricity for fighting with the robots, and I think we got some other resources too. Yeah, we got some circuit boards, and it looks like we also got some mutagen, and it looks like we got some diamonds from fighting them. And so, you know, if you gotta fight enemies that are covered in diamonds. That's what I always say. We're gonna go ahead and let this roll around. The AI, they are going to attack you. So not just the enemy factions that take over these cities. There are other keepers on the map as well. Oh no, they attacked my scout. Run away. Yeah, flee if you can. We've invented infrastructure, so that's pretty cool, just in case you ever wanted to have a modern toilet. I feel like we're on a really good path right now to accomplish that goal. It looks like they're trying to run my scout out of this territory. We'll just have him kind of like run around and see if he can scout anything else out. I could retrofit him and make him a little bit tougher and fold him on into my main army, especially now that we've lost a couple guys. But I don't know if I want to do that just yet. Yeah, they're chasing him down and they're crushing him. Okay, you guys, you are now on my turd list. I gotta decide who I'm gonna kill first, though. So every single faction in this game, including my faction, you have these tags. And at the beginning of the game, you don't have a faction. You're just your keeper, and you've got to wander around and introduce yourself to all the various tribes. But after you play the game for a little bit, you'll figure it out. These guys are fire worshippers, so they are cultists. They are pacifists, which means they don't like fighting. They are healers, and they are fishermen. We don't have a whole lot in common with them, but we can never really be friends with them because we are, unfortunately, the Inquisition. So we are Inquisitors. That means that we hunt cultists. We have a specialty in crossbows. We have a specialty in shotguns. And then I believe we are Luddites as well, which means that for the first 2 eras, we get +1 HP to all of our units. But for the last 2 eras, we get -1 HP to all of our units. So that's kind of what we've got going on. These guys over here are Children of the Vault. I don't know if we could get along with them. They don't like Luddites, so we can't get involved with them. These guys are fire worshippers, so we can't get involved with them. We're pretty much surrounded on all sides by incompatible cultures, so I get the feeling that this is going to turn into a bloodbath pretty quickly. That's the vibe that I'm getting right now. These guys right here, they are going to continue filling up this meter, and I think once the meter fills up, they send an attack force to come get you. So basically, they get stronger and stronger, and then they split off half the force, go back to their default value, and the split-off force comes and attacks your city. It looks like we met a new faction on this turn, too. Alexander Caesar. So this is where reputation is going to come into play. You see how he's got an army guy that's inside of my territory? Your scientists have discovered an unknown parrot with a blue tail and an orange beak. Okay. Give them to the less for... I don't know, dude. Like, I feel like gifting somebody a pet is kind of like a social faux pas. This game has RimWorld-style events that you have to resolve every now and again, and in a couple turns, it'll tell us what the consequences were. As I was saying, you see how he's got an army in my territory? That means he's losing reputation right now. So reputation in this game is a currency, and every diplomatic action you take has a reputation cost. If you're a scumbag and you're constantly going back on your word and your alliances and stuff like that, your reputation tanks, and then you will just not have any diplomatic currency to get people to do what you want them to do. And so I actually really like this mechanic. It stops people from being underhanded bastards with a hard mechanical kind of stopgap, basically. People don't always have to follow their word in this game, but they kind of sort of do most of the time. And so if you're going to betray somebody in this game, it's got to really, really, really be in the right moment at the right time. We've got some more brutes over here that are ready to go. I'll probably wait to make any more warriors until we get this lead mine right here, which is what I really want. I need a laboratory in order to do it, though. How long do I have till the laboratory? We got 1 turn till elephants, and then we got 8 turns till laboratory. Gotcha. I will probably go fight this guy just to get his resources. We are not getting... Actually, we'll pull back. I'm not getting reinforcements for that because he's outside of my territory. Fair enough. I'll pull back and we'll make another army. They want me to build buildings over here. We could get more prosperity, I guess. I'm going to actually launch a drone, I think, too, once he gets his AP back. Let's do we'll do an administrative district because we don't really have anything else going on right now. And we do have an empty space for it. One thing I do like about this game is that all the districts do look different when you place them, and they do kind of upgrade as time goes along to be more or less technological, depending on what era you're currently in. And so I like that a lot. One of the flaws I see with the game is that there's not... Oh, really? Victoria Orleans was destroyed. Well, I've got war elephants now, so I don't think anybody's going to be able to destroy me. I think I'm in solid shape as far as surviving the enemy goes. I'll probably, in fact, queue up an elephant. He's got a little ballista on him, but just like I can customize all my other troops, I can also customize my elephants. So you can put, like, elephant armor on them, and you can have different breeds of elephants, and you can have different types of ammunition for the ballista. And this means that this game actually gets pretty granular. It's pretty customizable, and I think the big struggle they're going to have with balancing this is just making sure that there's not, like, a overwhelming meta to every single unit that you build. Like, there's a reason to use a quartz hammer versus a lead hammer. There's a reason to use a fire ballista versus a lead ballista, you know? And as long as those things all, not necessarily rock, paper, scissors one another, but as long as those things all have their part and parcel place in universe and in a gameplay, I think they'll be in good shape. We're going to need, it's actually a good thing we made the administrative district because we're out of housing right now in our city, so we can't really get any more people. And we definitely want to get more people. We know what happened. It looks like we give the birds to the less fortunate. The bird feathers make good pillows. The quantity in the treasury will change from prosperity to plus 100 at once. You're going to find a lot of syntactical and like spelling errors in this game. I get the feeling that this game is translated from another language and it's not done particularly well. However, since it's a first early access pass, I will say that aside from the syntax and the spelling errors, you will be able to figure out how to play the game if you've played any type of Civ game before. The text is fine enough for you to figure out roughly what it means, like that last box pretty obviously gave us 100 prosperity. They just worded it in like a weird way. However, that is something that I think is going to have to get better by the time they head to like a final 1.0 release. The localization is not the best in the world. I'm going to launch a drone that I can scout with because I want to know, where is this guy down here? There he is. Are we compatible with these guys? I mean, they're Inquisitors too. So these guys are natural friends and vassals, I think. We've got to send somebody over there to visit, though. I'm going to send my leader over. We'll go visit them and see what we can do, because I have a lot of prosperity, and so I may be able to vassalize them, which would be pretty cool. Hopefully they don't want to fight me. Like, I'd prefer to vassalize them before any of the neighbors get there. We unlocked capitalism, too. All right, these guys over here, what kind of diplomacy can we do? So we can vassalize this clan right now. We can make a gift to them. We can assimilate them, but we're going to need to have 50 loyalty with these guys before that would be a good idea. We can swear an oath to them, I guess, to like not cut down wood in their regions. Yeah, I say 13 turns of not cutting down wood in their region is fine. Like, I honestly feel like that's probably a good idea. Like, we can do that no problem. And it looks like he's not really getting along with his neighbor either. So it might be a good idea to leave our forces down here and just, like, back them up in case the green guys decide to be douchebags before I can vassalize these people. They don't actually have... Is he on his way to attack right now? I think he must be. I'm debating whether or not it's a good idea to just vassalize them now. I want to assimilate them into our culture because we're both Inquisitors, but vassalization might be the better play for now. Yeah, let's go ahead and vassalize them. These guys now belong to us, effectively. And then I will also gift them 30 bucks and that right there. That will take them up to... Not too bad. It looks like we're moving upwards on the old loyalty track. We can throw a feast as well. But we'll let it lie for right now because I haven't played around with the diplomacy too much and I kind of want to see what happens. Take fertility right there. I want to wait and see what this guy does too. I think he's probably going to declare on us would be my guess. What climate do these guys prefer? Cool climate? All right. We can build the Halls of Truth, which is great. And I'm just going to take a look around and make sure they don't have any, like, armies or anything that are, like, preparing to roll out on them. I'd also like to find... there's the green guys. Green guys have access to quartz, too. That sucks. They haven't built on the quartz yet, but they will. And at that point, their armor and their weapons are going to be better than ours. So we need to get, like, some serious elephants going, I think, especially since we have the budget for it. I think 1 or 2 elephants, just to kind of like put them on notice, is a good idea. Every 20 turns or so, they give you access to these things called Imperial Plans. It basically costs you reputation, but you get big bonuses to production depending on what you want to do. So like with capitalism, we can get a huge boost to the amount of coin that we bring in. With intelligence, we can get a huge boost to our science. I'm going to go with probably... capitalism for right now, just to boost up the coffers a little bit, I think. Yeah, that sounds fine to me, because honestly, I'd like to be able to stamp out units a little bit more quickly. I think I can probably take one of you guys off energy and put one of you guys on food, Either that or I can put you on prosperity. Money is also good, though. Do money. Because those elephants, I bet, are going to try to eat us out of house and home. Kind of got a bad feeling about this army that's following me around. I've noticed the AI likes to shadow you like this every now and again when they're planning something. It's like, I don't know what you're up to, but you're up to something. Oh, did he already vassalize his neighbor? It looks like he did. They've got the same border right there. I think he did. I think he either conquered this territory, so he's got 2 cities already. Man, the AI moves quick in this game. They're like Johnny on the spot. We should definitely prep for a war. We've got a neighbor that we share a border with, one of our vassals, and I've got a bad feeling that he's a-coming. That's the feeling that I get. I also have a worker down here. Worker, I would like for you to work, and I would like for you to work right here, and put down the laboratory, please. So that worker is going to get converted into a laboratory, and then we will get the research bonuses that are associated with that. I think it also should give us lead that we can then use to upgrade all of our military weapons and make all of our little club guys stronger and whatnot. Man, this guy's pretty expansionist. As I'm looking around, this guy has like 3 cities. He's conquered this territory, and this territory in 33 turns? How does he have the resources to do this? This is the part that concerns me. How did he pull that off? Oh, we might be in trouble. Okay. All right, well, make ready for war. Elefante number 1 is ready to go. Yeah, throw the elephant in there. There's nothing that a good elephant can't solve in these types of situations. When in doubt, take an elephant and put a plasma cannon on his back. Plasma cannons and elephants. They've been a really popular strategy since, like, the dawn of time. You better get out of my territory, bro. You should not be here. There it is. I knew it. I was going to say he declared war on me already. Let's go ahead and whoop this dude. I think we're going to speed up the elephant, maybe, because we've got money. So, like, let's speed up the elephant and get him out right now. We'll wait and see what this guy does. I'm going to fall back to my territory. But I am of the opinion that green wants smoke. We also kind of need to get some things going. We do have research available here, so I think it's a good idea to get that research going. Once our farming is done, we can start popping out some food, too. I'm a little bit worried they're going to burn down my lab over here. I'd rather not deal with that. So we can finally attack Alexander Caesar, and I think it is a good idea to attack Alexander Caesar. Let us punish him. We shall punish him for entering into our territory. And I'm going to see what kind of follow-up I can hit him with. Maybe take one of his cities or something by the time this gets too nasty. All right, begin the battle. And it shall be a battle of bitterness. I put my elefante over here, and I shoots you. I puts another elefante right there. And I shoots you for the 3 damages. How far can he move? Not far enough. And one of his archers is already dead. You love to see it. All right, hold position. Yeah, I was going to say, he's going to light that on fire. He's going to try to move to there. The AI in this game is pretty predictable in the way that they play. Let's go ahead and open up on this dude. You move back to there so you are no longer en fuego. And then we've got our reinforcements from the capital just stormed on in, so that's good. Everybody's here, man. The hit squad's ready to roll. Hit squad's out here ready to get some. A little bit more damage off on that guy. Move them on up. Block the arrow right there, so that's good. A little bit of a club fight right there. Okay, club fight that guy. There you go. See, everybody's a gangster till they catch a club to the side of the head. You move over to here. Club that guy. Perfect. You come back over here. Shoot him with some arrows. Perfect. Come over here. Beat him to death real quick. Now, we need to kind of like capitalize on this victory that we've taken over this guy's army, and we need to capitalize on it quickly because he is going to rebuild. He is going to recover. and he is going to come after us, and he has a much larger city than we do, and many, many more resources coming in because somehow the game made 3 cities in 30 turns. I don't know, all right? But what I can tell you is we need to stop this from happening. Oh no, my tiles are on fire. That's upsetting. Hopefully it doesn't burn down my lab. The good news here is we can now storm into the enemy's territory. Hopefully smoke them. What's up with all the fire right now that's happening? I believe that I am on fire right now. So I'm going to need to do something that puts out fires. We've got low growth into high growth. Yeah, I just don't want to be on fire anymore. That would be the part that I am most concerned with at this junction, is that I would like to not be on fire. Nothing inspires you to not be on fire like being on fire. I'll tell you that right now. I don't have enough money coming in either, so we may need to kill some production and put 2 guys in right there in order to avoid losing money, because it looks like the lab has an overhead cost. I can fire a unit right there to get some money back too on the next turn. There we go. We put out the fire. We are no longer on fire. We should be good. What that means is now that I need to camp out on a tile that is good for my people, and we just need to regenerate for a couple of turns. Then we're going to storm in here, and we're going to try to knock this guy off the map because I want his bronze. I want his bronze real bad. So I think we're just going to chill over here for a minute, then try to take him. Now, the city is growing. I would like to have better production, so I don't hate the idea of an agricultural district because we do have a really good agricultural tile right there. So I'll go ahead and add an agricultural district real quick. We're getting 2 lead per turn, 4 lead per turn from the laboratory, which means that I can update all of my units. So all my little club guys, we can now give them much better. Let me show you. So we can go to this customization menu over here. And now, if you look, we have the ability for 5 lead to make this guy have a lead hammer. Our opponent has copper hammers. The lead hammers are basically the same, though. Like, I don't think they have too much difference. It looks like the copper hammer is slightly better when it comes to ignoring armor, but ours is better at shredding armor. So there you go. If we have access to chainmail, we could also do that. And as you can see, they turn into like little medieval knight guys. We have many different shields that we can craft over here. We can make lead shields as well, which will make our guys have way more defense. So it's up to you. Like, very customizable units in this game, and you can save them all. That's kind of like the hook that the game is playing around with. And honestly, I think it's a good hook. I like that. It's pretty interesting seeing this game go on like further and having guys in chainmail that are firing like, you know, electrical rifles at each other, because that's just kind of where your technology ended up defensively, but offensively they're using like sci-fi weapons. There's interesting things that can happen as a response to the way the technology and the resources work in this game, and I think that's what I kind of like about it. But anyways, my name is Splattercat. I will see you all later. Thank you for stopping on in. I sift through the pile every single day to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day, so you don't have to. This is REvival Recolonization. My observations about the game right now are that this is like an early access, but they do have a roadmap, and they do know where they're going with it, and they have that all scheduled. And aside from the typographical errors and from the syntax errors, I've had no bugs, I've had no crashing, I've had no lag, the frame rate has been stable, the soundtrack is good, and so I haven't seen a whole lot of things other than, like, I'm not a big fan of kind of the flat grayness of the UI. I tend to prefer with games like this the UIs that are a little bit more in line with the universe, so it's like a post-apocalyptic game. So like Era 1, it would be like, you know, rust and moss all over everything. Era 2, it would get like brushed off and it's starting to get a little bit more shiny. Era 3, it's now, you know, like, it's basically shiny brass or like shiny steel that's like reflective almost. And then Era 4, it starts getting little pipes and wires and technology in it and stuff. I don't know. I tend to like the complicated UIs for games like this rather than kind of like the flat Unity ones. But I don't really have too many complaints about it. If you like Civ-style games, it's a Civ game that has kind of an interesting little twist to it, but it is very early on in its early access journey, so that's the caution that I would give you. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for being here, and bye-bye, folks.